Okay. Hello, hi all, and welcome back to another edition of Crisis Talk, where we debate, discuss, and dissect the issues affecting the Black community. My name is Palimi.
And I'm William, and today's a very special episode of Crisis Talk, not only because it's the finale, but we also have a very special guest with us.
Yes. Ace Cobain, artist. Ace Cobain. Hi.
Hi, you alright?
Yeah, very good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good. Yeah, so you've been, doing music for quite a while now, haven't you?
Yeah.
How long for?
Roughly, I'd say 2.5 years.
Nice.
Kind of seriously, anyways.
Yeah. So you have 2 EPs out.
Yeah.
You've done lots of singles. You've collaborated with a few people. You did a collaboration with Isaac.
Yeah.
How do you what inspires you? How did you and why do you make music? Yeah.
Because I just enjoy it. I've enjoyed it forever.
Yeah.
I only took it serious because I enjoy it. But I've enjoyed just every aspect of it. So listening to music, hearing different genres, watching interviews and stuff like that. So that's why I decided to take it serious, because I just enjoy it, man.
Nice.
Followed your passions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah. Because today we're going to be asking, why do so many young Black people, especially young Black boys, want to be and aspire to be rappers, singers, basketballers, and don't go into being businessmen, CEOs, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, William, this topic was something that you wanted to do. So, what are your opening thoughts and stuff?
Well, to begin with, obviously, whatever you genuinely want to do and want to pursue, I believe you should definitely do that. If you want to be a footballer, you want to be a rapper, you want to be a ballet performer, whatever it is, you go for it. But with me, there's always a but, isn't there? With me, I don't know. For me, it's about the integrity and the authenticity of that passion.
Yeah.
Because obviously, rapping or football, it's a very luxurious way of life. If your pro footballer has made it, or a rapper, who's on the top of their game, it's a nice life. Girls, cars, drip, money, clout, all of it.
Yeah.
And Michael circles from on now. There's so many kids want to go into it because they have an expression they want to do, or is it for the material? Which is not a problem with. If you want to have girls and money and all that, go for it. But football or rap is not the only way you can do that.
Yeah. No, I think that it's all down to what you know that you can do. If you're a rapper, if you're a singer, and you can do those things, you should follow that passion, and you want to do those things. I feel like because a lot of people can just sing, but not everyone wants to be a singer. And then another thing, not everybody should be a singer, because I wish I could sing, but it can't happen. It doesn't happen. So just because you hope to do something doesn't mean that's your lane as well, if that makes sense. So and it doesn't mean that you can't be in that industry. So for example, I still write songs, but I just can't sing them. I still do other things within the creative industry, but I'm not necessarily singing. So I feel like people need to understand that just because you're not necessarily being the one on stage doesn't mean you can't follow that avenue of life.
Songwriting's where the money's at anyways in the industry.
There we go. Because
you write a song, if that person gets a Grammy, you get a Grammy. They get a plaque, you get a plaque.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, but then we were also talking about this before. I think another thing that people need to understand is that there is a business aspect to these things. So to the music industry, it's called the music business for a reason. NBA and all of those and the sports business, there's a business to the things that you're doing, and I think people need to understand that, because for example, the music industry can be so grimy in the ways in which artists are restricted when it comes to their money and their art. There's a plethora of examples. We mentioned who was one that we mentioned before?
Lil Uzi.
Little. Oh no! Imagine if I said it like that.
Lil Uzi.
Little Uzi Vert, for example, his deal was really, really bad. And like people just do like people do people dirty in the music industry. So understand that as well.
I feel like the reason why like a lot of people want to be in the profession of like football or music, like rapping or singing, is because like it looks easy. Like a footballer's aim and a artist's aim, people that entertain, is to make it look effortless, innit?
Right.
So when they make it look effortless, you think to yourself, "Oh, I can do that."
Yeah.
Or that's all you gotta do. But then they don't understand like they're supposed to make it look easy. But like for a footballer waking up, I don't know, 4 a.m. to go for runs or to do drills and stuff, like that's not the
It's serious.
It doesn't look as luxurious as, you know.
I'm happy you brought that up because I feel like there's definitely aspects of it. People just look at it and feel like they can just do it.
Yeah.
Which you can, by the way.
Yeah.
You can if you truly believe it, but
you gotta put in the hard work.
Yeah, you gotta put in the hard work because it's not all Ferraris and Lambos and Versace and red carpet events and, you know, girls. There's also the discipline. Like footballers, you think they go to McDonald's?
Exactly. They don't.
They don't go to McDonald's.
But I feel like it's even the people that want to say they want to be a football player, but they don't really have what it takes or whatever, for what reason they don't have the discipline. It's like a journey, because the further you go along that journey, you learn, wow, this isn't just kicking the ball on the pitch. The older you, the older you get, you clock like, oh, these people train X amount of times a week.
Yeah.
What, I don't have time to do whatever else they enjoy. Like,
and the top performers, it's every day.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
every day.
It's every day.
And
off season.
So that's what kind of less saturates the market or less saturates the profession, is when people clock like how hard it actually is, or how much time you actually have to dedicate, and that's in like everything though.
Because only the toughest and only the strongest people survive and will be around, and only the people that like actually do something like impactful will have impact. So for example, all those one-hit wonders, for example, that were just doing it for the sake of doing it, you don't hear about them anymore. You might still know their songs, but you don't hear about them anymore because the reason that they were doing it wasn't sufficient enough for them to carry on.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think another thing that's also really important is that people that are doing, you know, these in this industry as well, like, it is like every other business, for example. So when you're going through it, in like, say you're going through a divorce, or say you're going through a breakup or whatever, or you're going through financial difficulties, you used to have to get up and go to work, and you used to have to get up and do those things if you are in a if you work in an office, for example. So, and that's the same as somebody that like that's like a musician, like, for example. But I feel like the difference here is that musicians can use that emotion into their art, and that's why other people might like it, because they can use their emotions into their art. Whereas in a business setting, you can't really do that. You have to just focus.
It depends what you're doing, but yeah, I see what you're saying, Pauline.
Yeah, it does make sense to me.
There's something that someone said earlier today that triggered a thought in my head about that aspect of easy, and I think a lot of people do treat it, because obviously, what is it all about? Why does everyone want to be a footballer, rapper, you know, next best thing? Yeah, it's so you can have the riches and the fame now, today, right? Because you know, when you think to yourself you want to be rich on the Lamborghini and all that, you don't want it when you're 50, when the average person will get it. You want it pretty soon.
I feel like it's also because it's publicized. Like you don't really see billboards of like CEOs or like doctors or dentists, people in dentistry and stuff. I feel like because especially when we talk about young people wanting to be something, everywhere they look, like they go in the car, like music's being played, so that's artists or blah blah. You go on TV, you see music videos, or you see footballers, you're watching the game, people are walking about wearing a normal person, like say you became a footballer today, people go around wearing your name on their shirt and stuff, and because it's more publicized, it just seems, and when you're a kid, you're like, not everything is fantasy, but more things seem possible in your head. So when they see stuff like that, that's what they're gonna want to aspire to be. I dare to go up to a kid and go, you're gonna be rich one day, but you're just gonna have to stay in an office all day or something. At that point, when they're a kid, they're gonna think, oh, that's boring. But when you actually grow up and you tend to learn, maybe that is what you kill at. You're great at that. Let's say you're a sick lawyer or something. You learn as you get older. You don't really see that as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then that's where the difference between the people who actually, like the kid who actually looks at the person on TV playing football and says, that is what I want to do. I'm good at it and I'm willing to dedicate. Whereas the other person who just sees, oh, that looks fun, I want to do that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the difference.
That distinction right there is the exact distinction I want for us to dive into.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to get an energy of, I don't think someone should be a footballer. If that's what you do, you do it.
Yeah.
You know, but you got to actually seriously do it. But for me, where there's an actual issue, it's like, you know, for all, because there's lots of talent in the world. It's not specific to the black community. There's just lots of talent.
Yeah.
But now, when people are now limiting themselves to, oh, I love Cristiano Ronaldo, I want to be the next best footballer, I must become a footballer, or I must become the next Drake, or I must become the next Beyonce.
Yeah.
What that now causes is that's one less black, you know, top surgeon. That's one less black top lawyer. That's one less black Jeff Bezos. That's one less black. You know, all sorts of these other industries where there's already like a lack of black talent in them fields.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that it is kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you kind of, you know, who you relate to is easy for you to identify to and then kind of look up to. And since, you know, you look at like the NBA, so like 8% of them are black.
Exactly.
Look at NFL, so like 65% of them is black. And there's so many black artists and that. So I do understand why you kind of, but I think like, imagine more black kids grow up thinking, I want to be the next Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
What that now makes another generation of kids after that think,
Want to do that.
So I feel like you don't hear about like people like that. You don't hear about black people achieving those things, and if you do, you only hear about it in musicians, for example.
Yeah.
So like Jay-Z is the first black billionaire and stuff like that. Or Oprah's is a billionaire. Kanye West is a billionaire and stuff like that. Like you only hear about those things, those great achievements, like you said, in these fields as well. But you don't hear about like where, like, because there are a plethora of billionaires in Africa, like that are black.
Yes.
Let's say that are black. Like they're freaking Dangote. Like he's from Nigeria and he's a billionaire. Like there are people that are rich, but that are black as well in other sectors of life.
Yeah.
But you don't hear about that, and I feel like that's also a thing of like why I feel like it's interesting that you don't hear those things.
Yeah.
no, well, of course you don't hear those things,
And
because
stuff like
these are not the kind of things that, like, who cares? Like Dangote, you mentioned, he's the CEO of a cement company. Like that's never gonna be in the front of a newspaper.
It's because entertainment is the
Exactly.
biggest thing that's.
But that's not the
around.
point though. Like who cares about like Jeff Bezos? Freaking like he started a delivery company. Like who? Like that's like
Doesn't
He's
seem-
the richest man alive.
no. But what I'm
luxurious,
saying, I'm
well,
not
publicly.
I'm not talking about like him being the richest man alive. I'm talking about him just doing his job, right? It's not something that people necessarily would want to do. So like people would, like you said, so people wouldn't want to go for learn about cement. Neither would they want to learn about freaking computers, for example, like Bill Gates.
But that's what needs to change.
But that's what I'm
People
saying.
need to learn.
But
need
what
to
my
be
greater
looking at these
point
things.
is, that media should still
Celebrate these
celebrate these people
people.
that are black, that are doing these
The
things.
media does celebrate these people.
I don't
But
think.
and
I
you
think
look at- 'cause it's
a
also you got-
it's a
No,
differentiation.
because here's the thing as well. The media doesn't, like, it's your choice what you want to look at as well.
Right.
Like, because, you know, my feed tells me, my Twitter feeds, I'm looking at businessmen all day because that's what I'm interested
And
in.
how many of them do you
But
see
you
that are
grow
black?
it. You grow into
There's
that
a
though.
fair amount.
You grow into that though. When
You do grow into
if
that,
if a kid was to have Twitter right now, we ain't gonna see stuff that like that's a bit more of a sophisticated hobby or a sophisticated interest. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
When you're young, the legit all that's in your face really is apart from PlayStation games and stuff is football. Whoever you listen to and stuff like that, and that's
Love
just because
Islands.
entertainment kids latch onto that a lot, anyways, innit? Entertain kids.
Human beings, like, you know,
Yeah.
people care more about what's happening on Love Island than they do what's happening on the stock market.
in the stock market, exactly.
Like-
It's just because it just seems, I don't know, entertainment drives everything, innit? That's just the way it is.
We love it.
It's
Life
like
is
a
difficult.
lot of money
That's what it
into
is.
entertainment.
Life is difficult, so we want a bit of entertainment.
Yeah,
Take it easy.
It's
innit?
like a what do you call it? It's like a getaway, innit?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a form of escapism, if you will.
Yeah.
Because in many ways, sports is entertainment as well. You know.
Yeah.
You know, we watch it on Christmas Day. We, be like,
Exactly.
oh yeah, go City.
Exactly.
But what was I gonna say now? Like, it's kind of like the responsibility is kind of like on you though to now decide: do I want to be the masses and just pay attention to other people's lives, or do I want to have a look and see what's out there, see what I can offer?
But
because the responsibility does fall back on you.
It does.
The media will always. Drake is always going to make more headlines than freaking Robert Smith, who's another black billionaire, by the way, in America. His net worth is $5 billion. He's the CEO of an investment firm in America. So that means this is a black man bossing around white dogs.
People don't know about those things because they're not there to be known about in the context.
They are.
In the context
depends.
of,
it's not as easy to access. Like I didn't know who my man is, but I'll know about a football player. Just
there we go. Trying. Because I'm talking about representation specifically. Yes, these people exist, but I'm saying that like in the white, like they're not being represented or they're not being spoken of or spoken about in these mainstream places.
And the part I'm making is that's never going to change. But Drake is always going to get more headlines than him.
Yeah.
Always, because that's what people care about.
Yeah, of course.
Drake the responsibility is on you now.
Of course, I'm not talking. Yeah, but you can't compare Drake and that guy that you just mentioned because they're in two different fields. If you're talking about billionaires,
that's exactly what we're doing here.
No, but if you're talking about billionaires, right? I'm saying that I'm talking about people that are doing jobs that are would be considered boring or whatever. So I'm talking about those kind of people. Why isn't that guy that you just mentioned being talked about alongside Jeff Bezos and all of those people?
He's not alongside because his net worth is way smaller.
No, but like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You mean
Jeff
like
Bezos
why isn't he seen as important to everyone as people like Drake or a football player?
Oh, not even people like Drake or whatever. Because I'm talking specifically about billionaires that are
here's the difference.
That are away from the entertainment industry.
But here's the difference, though, please. Jeff Bezos' net worth. People only know who Jeff Bezos is because he's the richest man alive.
Granted.
Not because Amazon or because his business is interesting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Robert S. Smith, his net worth is $5 billion. So his net worth, what's that? It's a splash in the water compared to Jeff Bezos.
It doesn't compare to Jeff Bezos. But what I'm saying is, whatever that person in the black community owns, that should also be discussed as well. Alongside the names of Jeff Bezos and all of those people as well. Yeah, that's my point.
But then it's up to us to celebrate that and educate that. To people.
But it is. But like that's why through music, for example, like in Afrobeats, people mention Dangote and say like, God, this is like so that people know about there are rich people that are in this field as well. So it goes both ways. Music can be a way of informing the masses that there are billionaires, that there are people doing great.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know who the third richest man alive is?
No,
exactly. That's the part I make.
Yeah, I get
the
your
mainstream
point.
media is never gonna care.
Yeah, I get your point, but I'm talking about representation.
Everyone cares about being number one.
The number one will always get it because it's
maybe
number
two.
Number two will because he used to be number one. But that's the only reason why. I'm talking
about representation. I'm talking about representation specifically. Like if you don't see yourself represented in certain areas, of course you're not gonna want to aspire for those things because you don't see it, because you don't know about it. You don't know that black people. You wouldn't know that black people could be like billionaires. That's what I'm saying. Whether or not the guy is close to Jeff Bezos's net worth, that's not the point. The point is he's still a billionaire.
Okay, let me make a separate point from your point. Us as black individuals need to take on the responsibility of learning things like this. Of informing ourselves, not even necessarily, to go on Twitter and start. I'm not saying everyone needs to go be a business tutor to everybody, but like Michael Jordan's not the only black billionaire. You know what I mean? Like let's have a look at it. Basketball's not the only way you can make it in this life. Football's not the let's think a bit big, think a bit wider, and be like, Ross, this is the world. It's a free market. Any of us could be the next Jeff Bezos today. Yeah. Any of us.
I think there's like a false comfortability though in wanting to be a rapper or a football player. There's a false comfortability where you think, I don't need to go to uni to be a singer or a football player. I don't need to do this, but so you kind of use that, and when in the black community, like there's a lot of things to kind of stop us from keeping up with the education system, especially when you talk about America with NBA. Like Like there's a lot of things in place to stop you from carrying on the journey with education. So once you're out of education now, because of, let's say, the area you live in, right, none of your boys go school, like none of your boys are in uni or go college or go high school or whatever, or they're just messing about in it because they don't care, they want to be a bad man or whatever. And now you're doing that, and then you find yourself 18 or 17 or 16, whatever, out of education, and you're like, rah, the people that you went to school with, a lot of them are gonna go uni to do whatsoever. The person, you're thinking, rah, yeah, minor, I'm gonna be like Lil Baby, or I'm gonna be like Ronaldo, and then I'm just gonna play. I don't need uni to do this. I need this to do that. But they don't understand that not having that system there to work for you, that means you have to build your own kind of system to get where you want to go. But a lot of people don't get that. They see it as like it's just it's like I said, false comfortability in it.
I think that's a good point.
But getting to the level where you want to get, like that whole journey to there is like constantly realizing I gotta work harder than what I think I have to work. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my other worry about that. This is not me saying don't do it, by the way, because nothing really in life is that certain. Yeah. But there's an extra amount of uncertainty in athlete, in sports and entertainment. Yeah. Today you could be the number one. Tomorrow, who are you?
Exactly.
Tomorrow, everyone hates you. You're cancelled.
How many people play for academies and then end up like in the worst,
freaking PE teachers?
So, or even one injury. It's raps. Can't play the same way. It's rap.
Yeah. So I guess there's
risk in everything, isn't it?
There's risk in everything, and I am a believer of complete focus. Yeah. So what I'm about to say kind of contradicts that, but I think if you go into something like media or like football or something like that, be ready for the worst. I'm not gonna say I don't like this expression of don't put your eggs in one basket, because the actual way to secure bags is put all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah. But be certain before you do
Be certain and be ready for the worst.
Yeah.
But hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah.
But okay. That's how you win at life. Innit?
And then, so look, so you said these are the top 5 black billionaires. So Robert Smith, you said, who is who made his money through a private equity firm, Vesta Equity Partners. There's David Stewart, who has 3.5 billion. He's the co-founder and chairman of Worldwide Technology. Oprah. Yeah. 2.7 billion. She has everyone knows Oprah. And then you have Michael Jordan, who has 1.9 billion. And then you have Jay-Z, who has 1 billion. And then I think Kanye West should also be. I didn't that list.
He's on 1.3, I think.
Whoa!
And P Diddy's on his way to billionaire status.
P Diddy's on. So that's a list of black billionaires for you to know about and to also inspire to be. And in that list, three of the top five were in the entertainment industry. Yeah. Don't you find that so interesting? So I feel like that's what I'm saying. It's because these people see that you can make billions in this industry, so then they go for it. But then I don't even necessarily think that's true, because I don't think parents tell I don't think black parents tell their kids to or encourage their kids to be rappers and all of these things.
I have a theory for that.
What's your theory?
So most of us, like, our parents grew up in Africa, right? Mm-hmm. Now the way life is in Africa compared to here growing up is that the way we can be like growing up in England, whatever, blah blah blah, and we can know someone who is like our age, our colour, and is a football player or plays for an academy. We can know multiple, innit? Yeah, you can know people our age, black, that are singers, rappers, whatever. It's possible. Let's say we use H as an example, right? I know people who went to school with H or played football with H, right? Yeah. So like there's people who went to school, like black or anyone in it that. But let's stick to that. So you see this, you're like, right, this is possible. Like, yo, I've got friends that are actually rappers or friends that actually play football or whatever. That's a possibility. Yo, I'm gonna go for that. If I work hard, I can get that, right? Mm-hmm. Now in Africa, when you grow up in Africa, right, when they hear about people becoming doctors and nurses and businessmen and stuff like that, the way they see that is like, how can I explain 1 second? The way they see that how we see becoming a football player. Yeah. So when they move here, and they see that there's loads of doctors, loads of nurses, and becoming it is easier than that, they're saying, right, like that's our star.
Yeah.
Like, for us back in Africa,
interesting.
like someone becoming a doctor, we're like, wow, he's a star. He's what we see as somebody becoming a football player. So when they come here, they're just gonna be like, yo, forget all that, because imagine how they saw becoming Michael Jackson. They saw that as like impossible. If they saw becoming a doctor, it's wow, you became a doctor. What the fuck? Like, that's mad, yeah. Imagine how they see becoming a football player or a singer. So they come here now, and they see like everyone in their uncle and whatever have a easy chance of becoming a doctor and blah. So they're like, yo, why are you even thinking about these like fairy tale things like becoming a singer and blah blah blah, or a football player? Just focus on your books, because it's easier for you to become a doctor or a lawyer than becoming that.
Perception is a star.
Exactly. Now this is, even though you might see it as like, what the hell, they don't believe in me, blah blah blah, end of the day, for them it's out of love, because they want you to have opportunities that they may not have had, or get it easier than not have to struggle the way they did, innit?
Yeah.
But at the same time, like for you to dead off a kid's passion, especially when they're young, and tell them to focus on something that they're not passionate about, can do a lot of things to you mentally, innit? Like, because obviously I studied psychology, innit? So I know about like kids with like little kids. They're just a ball of possibilities. They think everything's possible, and they have a kind of, think about how a kid learns, right? Kids can learn a language, right? They can learn 3 languages as kids way easier than we can now, innit?
Yeah.
So it just shows like their focus and attention and their passion for things is almost, we still have it within us, but it's stronger than how we have it now.
Yeah.
So
life brings you down.
Exactly. So there's people who like maybe possibly, I don't know, not to say that defy your parents or whatever, but probably said, no, I'm gonna focus on football or whatever, and blah blah blah, and then got there, and their parents are like, oh, and now when they take the good morals that they got from their upbringing, they can also bring their adaptations on knowing that if my kid has a passion about something, I shouldn't force something on them because I know it's easier. I should support them, because at the end of the day, you can be a footballer and depressed, you can be a doctor and be depressed. It's all about doing what you love in life, because at the end of the day, when you're on your deathbed, you're gonna think, did I enjoy this right?
Because it's you and you on your deathbed.
Exactly. But yeah, but that was actually a good point, because what I was trying to say was like, I don't think black parents specifically would even be saying, go and be a rapper, go and be all of those things, because of the point that you just listed. Yeah. So therefore, I don't think the amount of black people that actually want to be rappers, singers, and all of it, and footballers is as much as we might think it is, because just knowing the community that we come from, that's not what your parents are saying back home. It might seem like it's more because we are around people that might that might want to be those things, but that doesn't mean in actuality that it is, because you know the amount of black people that there are in America that are in education. Like, Nigerians make up like a good percentage of like people in like overseas people in universities in America, in universities in the UK. Like, black women specifically also make up a large percentage of people of individuals who are in universities. So don't think that. I feel like it's very important to understand that there are black people and black excellence performing in both sectors, and those things should also be appreciated. I don't think it's as bad as what might be presented to the media.
I think whatever it is that, like, especially with children, innit? Because we were talking, at the end of the day, it's about young people. Like, as future parents for us, most likely, and whoever's just about to become a parent, whatever.
Because people are becoming parents, our age.
Exactly. It's like to understand that, like, we all know like the upbringing of a child is very important in their future, how they become as a person. But whatever your kid wants to do, don't matter whether you agree with it or not, you gotta support them. And I know like in our culture is a bit different in terms of that. Like, we're not as open as like a British family in terms of like pursue whatever. But it's very important. It's very important. And even if you don't agree with it, they might not even end up wanting to become that anyway. It's just they're finding themselves in it.
Yeah.
You can't interrupt
'Cause,
that.
yeah, it
that
gets
exactly.
You can't interrupt that development. You just gotta
Yes,
support it.
because I don't pass on the trauma that your parents passed on to you to your children.
You gotta learn
PSA,
from that, and then
PSA.
Yeah, because like legit, like for
But
example,
that's what is almost inevitable to happen though. You try so hard to not be a replication of your own parents, you become your own parents.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then
Exactly.
but do you know what's so interesting about that? I feel like parents are literally like being older now. I feel like parents are just literally doing things out of love.
Yeah.
But it's
Well,
obviously
It is
so
out of love
trippy.
at the end of the day.
It's very
survival.
it's very trippy
It's
though.
not even necessarily survival.
And
Yeah.
survival, but it's very trippy though
Yeah.
because as a young kid, you wouldn't get that, you wouldn't deep that until you grow older. But then when you're older, you still have this much like this.
It's instilled. That's where
trauma. Like you still have these issues.
That's why it's all about how they are treated as young, kids. Like that's where it comes from. Because if like whether I like it or not, morals that are instilled in me through my parent, I'm gonna put that on my kids whether I like it or not because
Right.
you live
That's
through
just
it.
who you
Even
are,
if there's some that is bad or not good, like subconsciously you're gonna do that anyways because it's instilled in you. It's like walking. You're going to walk. You're gonna teach your kid how to walk. You know what I mean? It's almost as much as that. But that's where in a child's development we're not supposed to. I mean, obviously we're supposed to guide them, but we're supposed to support their development.
Yeah,
Do you know what I'm saying?
but they're in charge.
Yeah,
They're taking it where they want
everything's supposed to
take
be in a small percentage. So even discipline's supposed to be in a small percentage. But like, how many people do you know? Yeah, now like black people like us are African. Yeah, their relationship with their parents, they can't just sit like now as 20-year-olds sit with their dad, have a beer, and have a conversation about anything on a friendly basis. Because as you get old, because you got to remember, you have a kid, right? Like say you have a kid now, you got to guide it, rah. But once he gets to an age like 20 years old, that's a whole other person. It's no longer you don't need to wipe his bum, you don't need to do any of that. They have their own place to live, they eat, they like their own food. So at the end of the day, when you're growing old and your kid is getting older, you hope that there's gonna be a friendship there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
at least like that's the most important thing.
now.
But like because of the way some people are brought up, like I've seen people like my age, like the way they talk to their parents, it's like talking to a police officer. It's not you know what I'm saying? It's not that there because of what you instill from young. Yeah. And then the parents, they clock that the older they get. They might not say it to you, but they clock that the older they get, in it. Like do you know what I mean? And even if they don't clock that, it's a sad thing, innit? Because they're like, why do we not have this relationship there? That's why I feel like as the way you raise your like the good thing that we have is that we've had the African upbringing, so we see what's good over there, what's needed over there, because there's a lot of good in there, but what could be better. And then we grew up in England and we've seen Tom or Ryan, whatever, how they're brought up. We see the good there and we see the bad. And then when we raise our children, I feel like that generation that we're gonna create, if people do that, it's gonna be like,
and that is combination of both.
A good evolution for young black people, and I feel like that's the best way.
And here's another thing I wanted to say, because we're linking it back a bit to what we talk about representation and media and all that. The truth is, because these jobs in the shadows, the CEOs, the lawyers, but it's jobs in the shadows. But there's way more money to make in the shadows, Drake is rich, but the person who pays Drake is balling. Like, you know what I mean? Exactly. Like, Ronaldo is rich, but the person who pays Ronaldo is balling.
Exactly.
So, in many ways, I don't use the word puppet because it sounds like I'm saying they're little, like, it sounds kind of derogatory almost, but they're puppet, they're like,
they're just the face.
They're the face of a whole massive thing that other people are doing. Or you're just like the model, the figure of it. But the people are actually making the serious money. It's in the shadow. You don't know that the rich person on this planet is not Jeff Bezos. I'm convinced. It's a guy in Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
With gallons upon gallons of oil.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, but I feel like with certain people, like that's why I think ownership again is so important. Like, for example, if you're talking about
this is not even a conversation about ownership.
But you mentioned Drake. You said the person who pays Drake, for example, right? So the person who pays Drake, might be rich, but if Drake owns his masters, the songs that he writes, he's still like, that's still his money. Or like, and he still owns like OVO Records. And if you're talking about Ronaldo, that's somebody paying Ronaldo. However, Ronaldo's still the one that has to, wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and do the work that he needs to do.
That's beyond my point. That's not what I'm saying.
I think I get what you're saying.
The point that I'm
there's
saying
people,
is...
Right, and there's a lot of people trying to encourage people to work behind the scenes, even though there's no money.
Yeah, that's not... But what I was trying to say is, if you're gonna use the term puppet or whatever, that the people that are like... These people that own... If you own your thing, you're nobody's puppet. That's what I'm trying to say.
See... I didn't mean puppet in a way of they're being manipulated.
No, I'm not saying that's not what you meant. But if you
all,
use the word,
all I'm saying is the musician, all they're doing is filling a hole for this person.
Okay.
Whether it's Drake, Beyonce,
no, that's calm.
I just think kind of what you're saying is there's a way for like the Drakes or whatever to like get into that position
exactly
through ownership.
That's what I'm saying.
I get you.
But I'm saying the person who pays Drake is always gonna be rich. Like that person behind the scenes is always making more money than the one front the scenes.
I think he's saying that
Don't forget that.
he can get to that position if he learns about it, and even the younger you start to learn about that, the shadows, the better, because then the easier. But then that's when it all falls down to personality. There's gonna be people who know that I can if I take the role of owning a record label, I can be richer than the Drake of that time.
Exactly.
But I don't want to be behind the shadows. I want my face to be there, and then they choose. So it's a personality thing.
Why do so many people in that day and age with clouds? That was
it's just the way
big
it is. Think about P Diddy, right? P Diddy did this successfully, right? Now P Diddy he's a businessman to core, right? So everything he did for Biggie Smalls, it was like he's the machine behind Biggie Smalls, but he still felt the need to be all in the music videos. If you listen to his songs like Big Poppa, the guy has like a 30-second segment where he's just talking in the song, because people how do you call it, people want to be the face. It's just like it's inside us. But then there's other people who are not like that, and they don't want to be in the face at all, and they're happy being in the shadows making money. But what I think is that not a lot of people that are young know that you can be in the shadows and you can work behind the scenes, because it doesn't seem as sexy or as luxurious as being the faces.
That's it. It doesn't seem as sexy.
That should be taught.
You made the exact. It doesn't seem. So forget about the sexiness for a second.
It should be taught though,
because
you won't know that until you're older. Some people who are bad artists, very, very terrible, and then they learn, wow, I'm way better at being behind the shadows and become that, but they still have to go through that process. But
and sorry, everything that you go through in life, I feel like it's a lesson. Like everything works together in a way, and even the things that you didn't deep that was useful might end up being useful to you. Thank you, Ace, for coming on. And tell us you guys' thoughts, what you think about this topic. Make sure you listen, make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave us a review, and listen to Ace's music as well.
Yeah. And Ace Cobain on like all social platforms.
And links will be in the description.
X instead of the O, so CXBAIN. And I've got new music coming next month.
Nice.
Expect new music videos, everything.
Excited.
Okay, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Crisis Talk,
which will be in a long time because this is the last episode.
There we go. See you next season.